Hello. Hello, everybody. Okay. Sit up. Okay, so I got a bunch of really good ones, good questions. Today we're doing the whole Q&A thing. I got a bunch of them texted to me ahead of time, but I want you guys to hop in on the chat. If throughout me answering these questions today, you think of any or you want to send them now, whatever, send them over. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get to all of them today, but I am going to try to. And if there's any that are especially in depth, I'll text you about them. Okay, I want to make sure I don't rush through it. So, okay, so I guess we should I'm going to pause the recording for a second. I, for the longest time, did not think that I was allowed to have kids. So for us, we went down a really, really deep rabbit hole, right? First stop, adoption, right? Like, because my body, I was told, is not structurally sound to have kids. My ovaries were all messed up, all this stuff. So we're like, okay, adoption. And there is a lot to that world that we figured out that is just not for us, for a lot of reasons that I'm very, very happy to talk to you about in private one-on-one if anybody has any questions. But we're like, okay, so then let's look up surrogacy. The fact that it's ridiculously expensive is not even the hardest part of the whole thing, because I think anyone who has been trying to conceive long enough would be like, put all that money towards having a child. That's what I want, end goal, So you find a friggin' way if you can. I think the worst part is that it just, for me, with my own OCD, I worried a lot about the process, not being present, not being disrespectful to the surrogate because I am so anxious, just the idea of everything being so different overnight all at once. Even though you're mentally preparing, it's not quite like that. I had a lot of heaviness and hesitation going into it, pursuing that route. I didn't want to do it. I just thought it was like, I guess this is the only way. And then I got to a point where I was like, what if we just don't have kids? Like, what if I kind of wanted to consider going back to school to become a doctor, like I had thought about a lot of different things. And then I'm like, I'm just going to ask my doctor what he thinks. And I asked one of my doctors and he was like, yeah, your A1C is great. Like, this is the best health you've ever been in. Like, it's a different story from where you were. And like, that didn't register with me fully. And then I thought about it a bit. I saw my sibling have a child, and all of the ideas of like what I had to be able to have a kid kind of went out the window, because I'm like, if I can watch them do this, and like, they don't need to be fancy. They don't need to have 57 things in place to be the ideal parent. Like, I just had built that up so much in my head that I could not be that, right? But seeing them do that and just the loving family unit they have, everyone is so happy and taken care of, that is the thing that maybe I didn't experience a lot as a kid. And I'm like, maybe I'll ask my gyno, see what they think. And I asked my gyno, and the first thing he said to me, which was really annoying, this is why I didn't want to tie your tubes all those years ago. Like, let's not use this as an argument for autonomy, please. Thank you. But nonetheless, he was ecstatic and he was like, yeah, absolutely, go for it. And like, I had voiced all my concerns with him and everything. We talked about it. And it was until I was 33 years old was honestly the first time I was okay with physically being pregnant. Like, the idea of that was so scary to me, beyond like, I really wanted to have a family. But the fear of actually being pregnant in this body made me think like, hey, if it's hard anyway, maybe it's just not for me. It was really a lot of just growth, digging, what pros and cons, what I could control and plan for, what I can't, and really sitting with that. And yeah, I just got to a point where I'm like, I'm just going to affirm it. I know that sounds crazy. I am not an irresponsible person with that stuff to be like, just affirm it, think, believe, achieve, but with this, it was like, I'm not getting any younger, like, let's try it out. So it's definitely been up and down. I am definitely worried, not only about being a parent one day that has um, chronic illness, but neurodivergence. You know, it's not necessarily the kindest world for people who are neurodivergent, and not just the children. Like, I think about the parents. You know, Nick and I are both neurodivergent, and there is so much stimulation that comes with parenting, just that from what I hear from my clients all these years is just, it's next level, you know? So I think for me, I really had to think about where it was going to go. You know, it couldn't be something that I thought was just jump into it, but it couldn't be something that I sat on and just obsessed about all day and night either. So I don't know if that answers that, but neurodivergence, I think, is the scariest thing. Who helps you with that? You go to a doctor with physical stuff and they're like, I mean, I know therapists and stuff, but you know what I mean? When the emotional stuff feels physical, you know, so who can really help you with that? You go to a doctor if you're having physical symptoms, but if you're neurodivergent and it's just a random Tuesday and it's midnight and you're freaking the hell out, what are you going to do? Suck it up, you know? So I'm definitely worried about that. But at the end of the day, what I'm not worried about is that if there is a problem, we're all human. I have a process to process through that, to seek support. You know, I made sure that my support system at home was really solid. So it's the best you can do, you know? I think it really does boil down to a yes or no at the end of the day, because there's no way to plan around it. There's always going to be risk that exists. It's once that risk doesn't feel as halting, let's say. Hold on. My mouth is so dry, I can't concentrate. Hold on. I'll be right back. Oh, Angie. So my wonderful husband is fetching my water bottle as we speak. Okay, so let's see, anything left on here? So then, also not for nothing, real thing for surrogacy. The idea, like, okay, I think support groups are really great. I think they're important, but I do think that there are some that are terrifying, right? So the surrogacy support group that I joined, I mean, it was a good thing because it was honesty. And it's what, you know, it was important that I saw it. Someone asked, how much have you spent so far? And do you have a child? The vast majority said no, they do not yet have their children. And were many of them well over 100,000, like most of them well over 100,000, some in the twos. So I thought about it after. I was like, you know, you find a way. No, we wouldn't have found a way. I couldn't, like, I think it got to that point where when I saw that thread, I was like, so wait a minute, my OCD has to deal with, once it's a done deal, not being present. But you're telling me that we could be doing this for years and have all these ups and downs and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it definitely added to my decision to consult the doctor more seriously, for sure. But I'm not going into this like one of those ethereal and, you know, so excited to be pregnant kind of people. I am nervous. I just want to put that out there. It's human to be. So yeah. Oh shit, this recording is not going up on the internet. Okay. I tried to keep it a secret because I don't want my in-laws to find out for Nick. So we're just going to post this recording in the CCA page. I was so close. Anyway, next question. Let's see. Thank you guys. I'm reading all of the congrats. And I'm not going to lie, I was really like nervous. Like, I'm telling you guys an hour after taking the test. So it's not a done deal by any means, but that was my point of starting this whole thing. I don't know that I want to not just be transparent. You know, I'm to be honest with you, I'm scared I'm going to take a test again. And it was just something, a fluke with those strips, and that it's nothing. Like, I want to show that reality of this. I don't want to do the whole like curate it for the feed because you don't want to jinx anything. If anything bad happens, it happens. And I'm going to share that too. that's the commitment I make to trying to help the way that I help. It's the only way I know how to help best is just to be transparent, so I don't, I wanted to tell you guys, like I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I don't want anyone to be upset if they've been trying for a while. But when you guys tell me this stuff, those of you who have had kids in here since being in CCA, you always say that to me. You're always like, I was excited to tell you, but I didn't want to upset you. And I am the first one to tell you, like, no, like, please do. So I wanted to tell you, but I don't want anyone to feel like they cannot talk to me honestly and candidly about how they're feeling with their journey. And again, mine is not like set in stone. Like we're not, I don't have a sonogram. Like I have a faint line on a test. So I'm going to commit to being open and transparent with you guys. if anybody's feeling any type of way, it's extremely understandable. Just please voice it with me because I am still me and still here for you after all, So, okay. Questions. Experiencing nausea and or sore boobs. No nausea because I affirm my stomach is settled every day because I'm terrified of throwing up. So my stomach is settled, but sore boobs, yes, that's never been a symptom of mine, like PMS or anything like that. And the other day I was like putting on a bra and I was like, is that what people talk about? Like, what is that? So yes. Weird. Okay, asking a question because you just reminded me, tips to find a good gyno for PCOS. I know we touched on this on our call, but what can we ask to find someone who will treat us without someone wanting to get pregnant and doctors who will help you get pregnant? It's so annoying, isn't it? My gyno retired and I am on the hunt. So my first, excuse me, first and foremost, I know I just talked badly on like the support groups, but first and foremost, check out your local support groups. Like find your town, your neighborhood, because you're in a big city, but like your neighborhood, find a community on Facebook and then ask in there as specifically as you can. Be like, just like you did, like I have PCOS. I do not want a doctor who only wants to help me if I'm trying to become pregnant or just tell me to like go lose weight or something. Like just be very descriptive because the people who have had those experiences will at least tell you who to avoid. And the people who have not had those experiences can share with you their doctor's name. So that's always my favorite go-to because, if someone posted in your group asking, like, you'd be more inclined if you were a response kind of person, you'd probably be like, don't go to this guy, if it was terrible. So I kind of like to use that as like a reverse search engine. Then you can try like a PCOS group. And then again, specifically ask, you can say, I want a, doctor who's not going to push reproduction on me. I want a doctor who's not going to only look at, numbers on a scale and not care. I want a doctor who's not going to just throw a prescription at me. Be specific because again, the people in that group will then share their experiences. You just might have a harder time finding one in your area because those groups are more broad. Then when it comes to, just my anecdotal stuff that I found that helps, I would not go to an older gyno. I know now it's like harder to tell because if they don't have like a photo of them online, it doesn't exactly, but you can look on health grades, look at when they graduated. But the reason for that, I don't know. I think everyone has pretty much experienced how limited the research has been. It was even more limited back in the day when these people became doctors, so, and modern times have different approaches to medicine, so I just think that when it comes to this stuff, you want a doctor who's on the front of that research because it's going to be newer research now that there's more demand for it. I would want to go to a doctor, like I want an old cardiologist. That's who I want, like I want someone who's seen thousands of hearts. But when it comes to PCOS, I want someone who's got maybe a fresher perspective. What else can I tell you about doctors? If they do bring up family planning, like it's so hard because you don't have to be mean, like you don't have to be a jerk, but you can always be stern when it comes to telling the doctor what you want in them. There are lots of doctors out there and we don't have free healthcare here. If it ain't us, it's our insurance, but they're getting paid. So, they'll be fine. They'll get another patient if you guys don't jive and you'll be fine. You'll find another doctor if you guys don't jive, but don't worry, like don't hold back from telling them in the appointment if you notice that they're only focusing on getting pregnant. Be like, I have to be honest with you. I was really hoping for more out of this appointment in terms of my hormones and testing than I was family planning. That's not my goal here. So if that's a problem for you, maybe I should find a different practice. Just like that, because it's just ridiculous. I hear this all the time and it's annoying every time. Not from you, but for the doctors, you know what I mean. Me and Stassi are over here just trying to survive, but people like you are what's helping me. Oh, I know you got this. Oh, you guys are great. Sent my message via text. Okay, let's get back into these. Okay. I'm interested in getting off birth control due to it potentially causing inflammation, but I don't know what to do without it because my husband and I are not ready for me to get pregnant yet. Is there a best way to prevent pregnancy off of birth control? Okay, yeah, totally. So good old condoms, there's one, but there's also, nothing's going to be as foolproof as condoms or 100% taken correctly birth control, or like an IUD or like something that just cannot be tampered with. But if you you can buy ovulation testing strips. It's one way to do it. And you would want to test and make sure. And if the thing with that is there's like a 6-day window where you can still get pregnant if you're not ovulating. So, or like after you ovulate. So, I'm trying to think without just short of like pull out, and hope for the best. Barrier method, honestly. Let me look into this more, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of stuff I'm really well versed in. I stayed on the pill for as long as I did, because I am allergic to latex and I didn't feel like ordering my weird condoms online. And I was just used to taking it every day. So I was like, whatever. But so I haven't really looked into this and I haven't had a reason to off the pill to look into it. So I will. I want to dig for some more. If anybody knows of any other methods that you've tried or heard of or whatever, feel free to drop them in the comments. But that is a really good question that I would feel better if I gave you after I looked it up a bit. How do I test for PCOS? So there's 5 different kinds, and the ones that are the quote unquote like easiest to find are the ones that are just going to come up glaring in blood work. So androgenic PCOS, which is based in like testosterone and androgenic hormones like that will come back with blood work where your testosterone will be elevated. There's a bunch of other little hormones that might be elevated as well with it. Estradiol will be off, LH and FSH will be off if it's estrogenic PCOS. Your inflammation will be higher if it's inflammatory PCOS. And sometimes, not always, your DHEA cortisol will be elevated if it's adrenal PCOS, but a lot more times that is, if they can find it, it's needed to be checked through a urine test throughout 24 hours because you need to see what you're doing throughout the day, cortisol wise, not how much total cortisol you have. So those are more of the diagnostic ways. I look at symptoms because hormones are evasive, right? Hormones are different for everybody. So I don't know, like, yes, they are clear cut in a lot of situations. However, in my 6 years of doing this, I have had clients who clinically don't show as having PCOS. However, we go based on their symptoms. We treat them as if they did have PCOS in that type of protocol for what they're experiencing, and they get better. So, who knows if it's 100% accurate testing, and especially with the 5 different types. And like I said, new research constantly coming out, that's going to change. But I think symptoms warrant it. And symptoms can be different for everybody. So for example, if you go to the doctor and you don't have cysts, that does not rule out PCOS. If you only have cysts, that might not mean you have PCOS. So it is very much based on, I think you have to have 3 or 5 clinical symptoms, along with confirming blood work and lab work. If you got all those symptoms, you're not imagining it, and people wouldn't get better when we change their stuff according to those hormones. So I hope that answers. It's always easier when it just shows up on the blood work. The things we do stay the same though, because the medications that they may give you, short of someone being almost diabetic, I don't always recommend diet like insulin resistance medications right out the gate. Like I do think it has to do a lot with how bad are someone's cravings? Is how much is their blood sugar swinging up and down? Things like that, because really it can be done without it. It's just, and the meds don't always work for people. So it just is another cycle of try this and see what happens. And it sometimes makes us feel more defeated and like worse off than we started. So I always say, no matter what the test shows, if we go based on symptoms, we go little by little and try to make those changes and we see pleasant things happening, then no need to muck it up, I hope that helps. I appreciate that you're being so open, vulnerable. I hate when I see people. Oh, I have my water now. Sorry. I forgot that it's here. Okay. I appreciate you being so open and vulnerable. I hate when I see people say, don't tell people until you're so far along. Yeah, like I respect whatever people want to do. You don't have to tell a soul the whole pregnancy if you want. You can go up in the hills and come out with a baby. I don't care. It's up to you. But people get pretty touchy when you want to do absolutely anything with your own life, like who cares if I tell people, y'all want to know it, like, so, because I mean, not even because it's me, I'm saying like in general, like, so I never understood that. Like, I'm not going to follow someone else's superstitions and stuff. Like, I respect them for them, but I don't feel I need them because it's going to happen. It's going to happen, So, I appreciate the transparency with this journey, especially since I'm having such a hard time getting pregnant. It gives hope. Yes. Yes, there is hope. There is hope. And like, I don't know what's going to happen, like it is definitely terrifying. I'm 33, type 1 diabetic. My blood sugars have to stay very, very balanced. And that's very scary. I have OCD. I have like, so that's kind of like, I don't know if it would be fair if I waited until everything was in the all clear to then keep everything that I went through to myself to then be like, we're good guys. Cause then, that doesn't feel genuine for me in my position to do that. So I'm glad that it helps. Contraceptive film and spermicide. Yep. I mean, the internet, that's where you find it. But like, I always wonder, like, where do they sell these things in stores? Like, what happens if you're just having a hot Friday? I don't know. And what happens if you're having a hot Friday and you pull out the spermicide? I mean, it's still good that you do, but I'm just saying, Slind birth control, it's progesterone only and made to help inflammation. It's helped me. So sharing for anyone else. Yeah. And like I said, I don't believe the pill itself balances hormones. I think that it just, if you hit the right balance of it for what you need, it probably just quiets down symptoms and stuff. For me, no birth control ever, like it was atrocious, no matter what, my PCOS. It wasn't until I did my baby steps and stuff, because I've been on birth control since I was like 12, I think. And like very young, I was put on birth control, and I didn't balance until I did the stuff to balance it, so truly I was using it for contraception because I didn't want to get pregnant, so whatever works for you. And we're here to support anyone. If you're transitioning on or off a pill, definitely reach out. Okay. Along with ovulation strips, you can get temp drop or Ava bracelet or something, and it checks your basal body. There's a bracelet that checks for that. Wow. Okay. And helps predict when you're ovulating more accurately. Yep. And the most disgusting term ever, cervical mucus. That is also a great indicator. Ugh. But it is. So there's a new ring out there similar to Oura Ring that tracks the body temp. Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. Love the recommendations about optimizing for pregnancy. Been casually trying for many years. Seriously trying for the last 6 months to 1 year. And we never talk about this. I'm texting you right after the Zoom. tracking basal body temp, ovulation strips, any other recommendations, plus optimizing the actual body, of course. Okay. So number one is, I'm just going to rattle off what we did. So this is going to sound nuts. I literally affirmed day and night in my head. I mean, thank you, OCD, for that. But like, I like it when a plan comes together, you know? But all day, every day, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. I was looking up baby shower venues. I was looking up baby shower dresses. I already picked it from Selkie. Beatrix Potter is the theme. So like all of this, like I really made it a goal to just tell myself that I am in this phase as long as I'm in this phase, but I'm pregnant. Like that's it. Because like, what does it matter if I wasn't? Honestly, I wouldn't be any less disappointed. I took those negative tests though, and I'm not gonna lie, like I still was like, I don't believe it. I think I am. I think I am. This has been years of law of attraction. It's bordering delirium, but there's that. Nick started taking these supplements for conception. I can list them, like I can link them in the recording. I take prenatal gummies. Everybody knows I love a gummy vitamin. So I started taking those. Funny thing, I thought they were making me constipated, and then I learned that that's an early pregnancy sign. So there's that. But what else did we do? I tried to stay really on top of my, I read something about vitamin C really helping, and I don't know, but I drink lemon water, like literally like cut a lemon and squeeze it into my water. I drink it all day long, all day, every day. So I don't know if that helps. Ovulation. So what I did was I uploaded, what is it called? The Flow app. It's just like a basic, like the more popular one. Just because I had never done that. As you guys know, I'm a very bare bones kind of person when it comes to this stuff. Not very frou-frou with my whole like medical stuff, you know? So I had never had a period tracker. I just knew my period came at this certain week. My period has been very regular for a very long time, I will say. I guess that's what the pill's supposed to do, but it never did. So I'd say the past year or so, my period's been very regular. What else did I do? I eat pretty much the same stuff every day during the day because it's what helps me get my protein and my calories in. I eat like those gluten-free frozen chicken patties that I love. A fly, sorry. I can link that in the recording as well. So like consistency with your food. I take my sleep really seriously. I have the luxury of accommodating that in the morning if I'm staying up later at night. So if you can't accommodate that in the morning, text me and we can try and come up with a plan to maybe get you to sleep a little bit more regularly. I really put a huge focus in stress management. I knew that I wanted to be pregnant as soon as possible. So I'm not saying this to sound flippant, and I'm not saying this to say that I was calm 24/7 at all. But I really it became an absolute priority. Like, I'm like, it is so not worth my brain space. I cannot deal with that right now. Like, I had a job, like that was it. So I downloaded the tracker app. I saw that, like, I put all my period stuff in there. And then we waited until, I have like reversed hiccups. Like a dog. But we waited until it said that the like ovulation window had opened, and we did the damn thing, you know. We tried to, at the beginning of the ovulation window, it was like pretty much every day. And then when it was like actual ovulation day, on the app, we did every other day because that helps sperm production increase again. Our plan was that we would wait a couple months and then go get sperm analysis and then go get an anatomical scan, because that was the goal, was like always just be looking at it as body parts biology. Like, you know, that's how our brains can compute it. So what else did we do? I said before, cervical mucus, it's so gross, but it's important. You'll notice the day that you're ovulating, you might have like a little bit of like a tinge in your lower, like either side. You'll notice that you are maybe a little more in the mood, a little more frisky than usual, even if it's not a lot, just a little more than like your partner looks a little bit like you want to be with them more, just something about it. The cervical mucus, last time I'll say it, is like egg white consistency. That's what all the medical ways to describe it is. It just grosses me out so bad. But that is basically that's the semen's or the sperm's like ticket to the bus station, right? Like that, like it hops on that mucus and it gets it up in there. So like you want it to be super like slippery, sticky, gross, like whatever, because that's what makes it, it's like buckle up and then away it goes. So I've also seen some people, if you've been trying to conceive for a while, they recommend taking Mucinex. That's something I've seen recommended a lot. What I did not have to yet, even though there's many times I said I wanted to, because these allergies are driving me nuts. What else? I don't know. Let me see. I'm going to answer some of these questions while I think that might have been it. And then just my baby steps. Okay. My manager. Oh, sorry, I missed one. It's a hard place to be in when you're working so hard on your health and wanting to wait until you're the most healthy and also running out of actual time. That's the thing though. I want everyone to keep in mind, you do not have to get your body to its ideal place to get pregnant and have a kid. I know that sounds crazy, but I think the stress of pursuing that adds to the defeat and the negativity. And even if we're talking about law of attraction and attracting what we want and not trying to attract what we don't, I think it just kind of adds to that, making us attract what we don't want, right? To think that it's like we have to get optimal health. I have heard some crazy stories of people who still get pregnant and have kids. Do you know how many oopsie kids come from CCA? It has been something I have felt bad about talking about, but I guess there's something to this, is like unplanned babies happen all the time in CCA. And my clients are not like, and they're tip top health. Like it's a journey to get there, I think that really screws us. Did it help? I don't know if it helped. I mean, I don't want to just put chronically ill people on blast with their awful examples and be like, hey, look, this person got knocked up. But if you want to text me, like I could tell you some stories that, are like, how the hell did that happen? For years now, I've heard this. For 6 years now, I've heard, and they've been like, how the hell has that happened? So I think that's the number one thing. Stress management, having fun, generally just honestly taking care of yourself and giving yourself forgiveness. I know it sounds really crazy because my science brain wants so badly to tell you something tangible to do. But I really, in my gut, believe that the biggest thing that contributed to it was stress management. I don't know. It's hard. I don't mean to say it's easy though. My manager let me change my schedule to help my circadian rhythm and work better with my home life. Beautiful. Would you mind, if I can ask a huge favor, would you mind sharing in the group how you asked for that? Because I think that's what trips a lot of people up, because they don't want to seem, and I know we've talked about this too, is like it's the perception of like needing something, and it would be great if you wouldn't mind sharing, or if you want to tell me and I'll post it or whatever. But great job with that. I work 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. now and love the fact that I can sleep in or wake up naturally. It's huge. I think, and a lot more companies are moving that way, because it's like, okay, you're here. Like if anything, some companies like the fact that people are there later, so if any last minute stuff happens, I mean, it isn't always the greatest, but for them it is, you're there to cover it. So excellent point. Don't be afraid to ask. Every time I hear mucus, I have a flashback of losing my mucus plug right before I went into labor. Ugh. Mm-mm. No, I don't. I'm not looking forward to any of that at all. The biology part of it is like, I guess we have to, I work from 2 to 10 and that works great for me. I just need to be more consistent about what time I go to sleep. The ADHD struggle of all struggles, getting to actually stopping, getting off your phone, stopping watching TV, even if you've seen the stupid episode 17 times. It's hard. It's hard to break us out of us time. Mucinex, I think it's supposed to thin out the mucus, and that for some reason helps, even though I said it's supposed to carry it all the way up there. But I think it's like an issue if it's too thick. I don't know, gross, but it's supposed to help. And I'm a big like old wives' tales. Like I'll follow it. You want me to stand on one foot and put extra parsley? Okay, I'll do it. I don't care. No sweat. So kind of where I stand with that. I'm like, I got phlegm already. Mucinex could only help, but I never got around to it. So I feel like I need to be in perfect health and have perfect finances to have a baby. Now, okay, I do think it should be like, if it would put you out completely to have a baby and it would cause a massive amount of stress on you, the parents, and your health and everything, that it shouldn't be at that point. But I think that we, like with everything, want to be in the best possible standing. And our personal best possible standing is usually held at a much higher standard than it needs to be. We're just like we're hard on ourselves, like in a bad way. We expect a lot out of ourselves in the other way, So I think it's like to really figure out, like, would it really be completely not doable? I don't know. Ask yourself that question, but don't make it so that it's the perfect financial situation. I'd love to have my next mortgage, like have my mortgage paid off and we do, just not have to worry about that and have all like just, whatever. I can buy anything. People don't need that to have kids. People have kids in Walmart bathrooms, like obviously we don't want it to be in a situation, like I said, it's going to cause extra stress, but really figure out what that threshold is for you, non-emotionally, but practically, what is that threshold? Funny thing is, one of my clients is one of the top fertility doctors in the state, but I feel way too awkward about him looking at my vagina to go to him. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how I'd feel about that. No, you know what my labia looks like. We can't do business. Like I don't know. It doesn't matter to him if it helps. He really does. It's like he's looking at your elbow at that point, But I would understand that, especially if you have to like meet outside of the doctor's office a whole lot. It's just awkward. Girl, get up on those stirrups. Juliana, you're so funny. Fertility problems are 50% women, 50% men. Sometimes it's just as simple as the shape of the sperm. Yeah. Or the speed of the swim, things like that. Or I think also genetic testing shouldn't be something that people sleep on, because it's like if you're trying for a really long time, especially clients who unfortunately suffer loss a lot. Genetically, if there's something going on there, and it could be rectified a lot of times if you know about it, but genetically, like the body will not allow it to progress because it knows it's not viable. So it really testing, like it doesn't have to mean that if you're trying and nothing's happening, that it's a defeat. Like, oh, I guess we have to go all the way now. IVF. Okay, IUI, let's do it. It doesn't have to be that way. It could just be as simple as going to not as simple, but as straightforward as going to a reproductive endocrinologist and asking for some testing, see what's going on under the hood. Could be nothing, could be something. My manager has been approachable and told our team if we ever have a question or concern, she can't promise she can grant our request, but she will do her best to help how she can. Oh, that's nice. So I just explained to her that because we work in manufacturing, I think it would be a win scenario since we run 24/7, and it would be helpful to our supervisors to have an HR rep on the evenings. I told her my husband works late night twice a week, so adjusting my schedule would help me see him more and sleep better. I love that she cared about that. That gives my millennial heart some peace. Like knowing the workplaces that I worked in, like that's wonderful. How much does it cost to have a baby? Legit question. I would look up. Who's gonna give me a kid? This is crazy. I would look up the cost of like the goods in your area. It can't be that different from anywhere else, but just in case, and just try to get a number, try to get a figure, and maybe like times it by 2. I don't know, but I will look into that. I'll look into that and I'll look into contraception and I will post both in the recording comments. Because that is a good question to actually put it to a tangible amount. If I'm being completely honest, if like I can afford to keep a diaper on their ass, formula if need be, all of that, like, and then us food bills, you know, regular expenses and stuff like that, at least in the beginning. Like I think I was reading something that said babies are cheaper than people think these days, typically, like small babies, you know? I'll look it up and I will post it. Hospital bill. That's oh, you mean like literally like cost to have the baby? Oh, okay. I think I saw 50,000 out of pocket with 0 complications. I think I saw it was something like 2,300 in Germany. So if you want to head on over, but childcare super expensive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like small babies, you know, that's when it's like not as expensive as people think. It's when they get older that it starts to get more. I mean, because yeah, you can even do. I don't know. I could not. I don't think I could hang like this with the stomach. I couldn't stomach it. But like people do cloth diapers. If there's anybody in our group that does cloth diapers, feel free to post in the page because I don't know nothing about it and I don't plan to. But I enjoy the fact that you do it because that's amazing. But you can, you know, like if worst push came to shove and couldn't, you know, didn't want to and couldn't get diapers because they should be accessible and they're not. There is cloth to physically have the baby. Yeah, I think I saw something like 50K with 0 complications. Wild. There's also help if you're lower income. Hospital bills, nuts. In general. Okay. All right. So I did get that right. I thought that's what I thought you meant. Yeah. I mean, when they get older, right? It's like I'm trying to think just without my just perspective on what kids spend. So what is it like? Clothes, food, school stuff? Parents of kids that are over 5, where would you say your monthly expenses go to when it comes to your kids the most? Oh, I'm sitting here scratching the barrel when I got like everybody here could answer, chime in. Doulas, I've heard great things about. I wouldn't recommend for high risk. If anybody goes into high risk, I mean, doula, I think is it the midwife or the doula that works alongside the doctor? I think that's like for high risk pregnancies. That's good. I know for me, I will be high risk immediately because of my health issues, and I have an optional C-section that I can do. And I really want to look into a center that offers midwife assistance along with the doctor and the delivery plan and stuff. So there's lots of different options. I've had a few clients who were doulas, which is really cool. It's not as bad as it seems. Okay, so Yasmin, nannied for a family that did cloth diapers. I'm like, we got to have a separate washing machine. How do you get it off? Like, what do you got to like shake it into the trash? What happens if it's like a milkshake? Like, I don't know. The idea of it freaks me out. I wish I could stomach it because it really it's right up my alley for all the other reasons. But Xbox gift cards, sports and activities. I am blown away at the cost of sports and activities. Like, I don't understand. As of 2022, the average cost is around 288,000 total, or 16 grand per year. For what? For a kid? What is 16 grand per month? Oh, with childcare. With childcare, I could totally see that. Yeah, it's about 1,300 a month. It's probably more for a bunch of people. It's crazy. Squishmallows. Oh, they're so cute. I love them. Doula goes to hospital with you. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I could not do it at home. Anybody don't watch the movie, what is it? Pieces of Her with Shia LaBeouf. Oh my God, don't watch that. That's all I'm gonna say about home births. Don't watch it. So there will be skid marks long after potty training. I can deal with skid marks, okay? I can't deal with entire burnouts. No, no. Pro tip, the reason I chose midwife is because no episiotomy. That's where they cut your taint, right? Like, I am so not ready for that. I don't want to think about that stuff. Wow. So you don't, okay. Episiotomy is when they cut, for lack of a better, the taint was the skin between your butthole and, you know, the good. So a lot of times they cut you there to be able to, like, the baby to get out. I mean, like, something you tear naturally sometimes, but like, I had no idea, like, you didn't have to get cut. 6 stitches. I don't know. I might just do the C-section, guys. Like, I don't know. Give me an extra stitch back up. All I'm saying is I keep telling myself, we're going to have a good year. We're going to have a good year. We're going to be at the other side of this year with like a healthy kid. Everything's going to be good. We're going to have a good year. I just keep affirming that. Good, healthy, happy year. Because like anyone can suck it up for a year, you know? And I'm like, I can deal with this. I can deal with it. But I am just being transparent with you guys. The physical side of the pregnancy is the part that's tripping me up. So feel free. I love these questions. Anybody else? Any others? Give me the juice. Oh, we're up to 49 minutes already, but I had a couple through text. Where is this? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I got a couple questions here. I'm just going to answer one and then I'll text about the rest. My God, these are such good questions. I don't want to answer all of them. Okay, I like this one. Is it beneficial for us specifically to buy antibiotic and hormone-free chicken or like regular stuff like produce? I noticed there were 2 options with the gluten-free chicken nuggets and patties you recommended, and I got the regular because it was cheaper, but not sure if that matters. So here's the thing. I don't think there's the thing I want to say, and then the thing I'm like that I'm really saying. So I want to say it doesn't really matter. And here's why. Because you're not eating a lot of it, and because you're probably consuming hormones in some way, shape, or form from something else we're eating, because the food regulations are crap here no matter what. So it's almost like, would it be a detriment? I don't think so. Would it be a great help if you switched all to that? I don't know. I don't think so. You know, so I think if you're trying to save money and you have a chicken patty a day, I think you're fine. I think if you eat a lot of fresh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like meats and stuff like that, then I would go for more organic meats if you can. It's just so expensive that it's understandable if you can't. It should always be hormone free. A lot of the like regular supermarket ones now, a lot of them say no added hormones on them already. So they're making those changes more, but I meant grass fed. The grass fed meat is super expensive. I just don't think we're a clean enough society in every other way to justify $5 extra per pound for meat. So I don't know. Take that with what you do. I don't specifically go out of my way to buy very expensive meat. I think the stress of trying to watch everything and be so careful of everything, I think that is more unhealthy than the risks that we're afraid of taking, because we already live here. You know, I was talking to my sibling about this. It's a matter in public health. It's environmental changes that can't be helped. Our population is larger, infrastructure is larger. There's just more of everything. And that's going to change how natural our lives are, even if we're participating in it or not. So if what makes our life a little bit easier in some ways and keeps us fed regularly, I don't think that that's that much of a detriment, especially if you need to save those dollar bills these days. I think everyone will be fine. So I know nobody expects that answer from a health coach, but life isn't short, life is long, so you might as well not stress. See. Okay. I did the hormone, I did the no hormone meets for 3 years and I noticed no difference. And now you balance it 50-50. Exactly. Like even that, if you want to feel better about it, even that's a benefit, So, okay. I was like, I'm just going to go on for a quick Q&A. And then somebody asked how my TTC journey was doing right before the Zoom. And I was like, we're going to get in there. I've loved this chat though. I hope that it was informative, and I would love if you guys want to text me and continue the convo in private. Tell me what you took away from it, if you have other questions, but I will continue to keep you guys updated. I'm not going to be posting as publicly just yet until we tell my in-laws. I'm going to take a test tomorrow morning and see. I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, let's see if it's really there. But I'll keep you guys posted more closely than I will publicly. So have a good night. Bye.